Look, it's a special camp. Obviously, we've got the time to sort of integrate, first of all, staff, but more importantly, to have a look at a number of players in situations. And obviously, when you have this amount of time, you can start to infiltrate some good ideas also, and make sort of I suppose a statement in terms of the way we want to play. So. An important camp to sort of launch the next phase, I suppose, in the lead up into the Asian Cup.
We'll go to questions in the room before we head online, so we'll start it off with Channel 10.
Obviously, you've come across and in one of your previous media conferences, you've said that you're pretty stubborn when it comes to the way that you're going to handle yourself in terms of finding that identity. You've got some pretty strong characters and personalities in the squad. How are you going to balance that sort of assertion and taking them on the journey that they need to into the 2026 Asian Cup?
Football, talk football, a belief in a way that we want to play, and always bring it back to the game itself, and that's really, really important. And I think the biggest part of my job at the start is to get that level of buy-in, on the way we want to play, on the way we want to approach the style of football that we want to play. As I said, I have my ways, and stubborn is probably a good word to use. But the reality is that once we can find a football direction where everyone has the ability to believe in the way we want to play, but also give them the freedom to be the best that they can be, I think we'll get everyone on board.
And to follow up to that, obviously everyone's going to be wondering, the hometown hero, Sam Kerr, how far away is she from making a return to competitive football, and in particular being included in the squad? I understand she's been travelling on and off with the team a little bit.
Yeah.
How far away is she?
Yeah, look, we're sort of just monitoring that on a day-to-day, week-to-week sort of scenario. She's on track, and we're working closely with Chelsea also to make sure that she's ready for the season going in from there. But as I said, everything's pointing in a positive way and going in the direction we feel that's right.
Joe, it's obviously been a bit of a whirlwind for the end of the French season, and now you're here. Does it feel real now?
Yeah, it's starting to sink in, and as I said, it's been quite emotional from the announcement to this moment now. But look, it's obviously now getting the hands dirty and starting to work now, and and that's the most important thing. But the jet lags hit me hard, so we're sort of trying to make sure we focus on what we need to do.
It's a 4-game series. You'll have players available for the first 2 games, some available for the latter 2 games, and some who are available for 4. How do you use this window so you can maximise your own, I guess, implementation of how you want the team to play and getting the players used to your methods?
Well, look, I mean, obviously the amount of players we're bringing in is for 2 things. Trying to balance the loads and trying to balance where they are physically, because some are coming out of season, need a bit of a break or need to be integrated in different ways. Some of them are still in season. Some of them are going to be new. So it's really balancing out the where each player's at. But more importantly, just finding a balance of the right messages, from a football perspective, and making sure that we touch all those little particulars that we need to make sure that everyone walks away from the camp knowing, okay, well, this is what we want to be. This is how we're going to do it.
There's obviously a few big names who aren't part of this camp. Obviously, you've worked with the likes of Steph Catley and Caitlin Ford before. Have you spoken to them since you took over the role?
Yeah, just positive stuff, and obviously the Champions League success for them was really, really important, and they really showed the level of talent that they've always had. And look, yeah, we've had some chats and stuff like that, but I'm actually really trying to stay away and give them the rest that they deserve, because they deserve it.
One of your biggest goal scorers, Hayley Razzo, is she likely to play in all 4 games? She's been included in the squad, but also managing a leg injury as well. How are you going to balance that need for on-field leadership and an avenue to score with the longevity and long-term well-being of one of your stars?
Yeah, we need to integrate her. I mean, we'll see in terms of where she's at. She hasn't played for a while, so it'd probably be good for maybe to integrate her in the right way. all 4 games, we'll have a look at that. Will she participate in all 4 games? We'll have a look at that. But as I said, let's see at what level she comes in and how quickly she starts to sort of progress accordingly.
And Perth is going to be one of the host cities for next year's tournament. How much is this a dress rehearsal for next year?
Huge dress rehearsal. I mean, coming to Perth, and it's a great city, and obviously a city that loves their football too. And we're really happy to be here. And as I said, I'm really excited to be here personally. Just to see the new facilities and the new stadium and so on. It's going to be a real exciting week, 3 weeks, isn't it? Yeah. So.
And building on from that, how are you going to be balancing a desire to experiment with new and old players, but versus building a foundation that will actually carry you through to next year's AFL?
Yeah, look, it's as I said, it's important that we get the right messages across. That they walk away from this camp, that the players walk away from this camp understanding the clear messages going forward, and then from there we just keep building. But look, it's high performance football. We still want to win football matches. We still want to show who we are as a footballing nation, but more importantly, to really instill some identity and really instill some I suppose some belief in this team that going forward from here we will be prepared for the Asian Cup.
We'll take 2 more from the floor before we head online. You're all good?
I do actually have one more.
Yeah, sure.
Have you ever been down to Bunbury?
I've never been to Bunbury, so exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about.
We'll head online. Joe, we'll start with you.
Hey, Joe. Congrats on the squad. Obviously, a few new names then, 16 players, with fewer than 10 international appearances. Jacinta G returns to the squad for the first time since June 22. Obviously, you debuted at her at City. Can you talk us through, I guess, what about her stood out to you?
Yeah, we've monitored Jacinta, or I've monitored Jacinta over the last couple of years when she was at Celtic and now at Sporting. Look, she's one of these talented players that in one-on-one situations is something a little bit special, and it'd be great to just see where she's at. And it's a perfect opportunity again, with the size of the squad and the time that we've got to work. I think it's a perfect time to sort of see where she's at, and obviously looking at her going forward.
Obviously, Courtney Vine remains on leave. I know before you flagged reaching out to her. Are you confident that perhaps we'll see her later this year?
Yeah, I'm confident. We had a good chat with Courtney, and that she just feels that she needs a little bit more time to come back, and we respected that, and it was very, very important that she felt comfortable with the process going forward. So from my perspective, yeah, she's definitely in insights going forward from after this camp and beyond.
Did you have any more, Joe?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Good. Roy?
G'day, Joe. You mentioned before this will also be an important camp for getting your coaches and your backroom staff sort of all settled in. How do you go about doing that and mixing them in with the players they might not have worked with before?
Yeah, we've come in 2 days before, and all the staff's arrived tonight. So we're actually going to start with a nice dinner tonight. So we'll all it'll be a meet and greet, but there's going to be a couple of days of just workshopping, to understand the processes that we want to use. And B, obviously, how we're gonna instill the methodology. So to be a good couple of days of just going through the processes, but more importantly, how we're going to monitor it from here and beyond, and also discuss what happens after camp. What are the touch points that we're going to be monitoring players, but more importantly, as a staff getting together. So we've got a good couple of days of integration for the staff.
And how will things be set out? Will you have someone or even yourself going to still live overseas and sort of coach or fill their roles in the team? Is everyone moving to Australia? How are you sort of working that out with yourself and your other coaches?
Yeah, we're balancing that out. We've got medical and football staff that will be based overseas, that will be coming in for camps. I'll be based in Australia, so I'll be staying here and liaising a lot with A, the clubs, the member federations, and B, the programs going forward, and both youth programs. But we have a good balance of I suppose monitoring, which is going to be fundamental going forward to make sure that when we roll out the new ideas or the new style of play, that players are continuously getting the messages overseas, but also being monitored from a physical and load perspective within their clubs.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
The great Joey Lynch has jumped on.
It's funny because I'm not sure whether I should be.
Definitely
It's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those, isn't it? Joey Lynch, how are you?
I'm going well, Pep. How are you, mate?
Good, my friend.
How's Perth?
Lovely. I've seen 5 minutes of it, and the weather hasn't been great, but the journalists have been good so far. So
Ben Smith's looking after you.
I hope so.
Hi, Joey.
Oh, you're there too. How are you, Ben Smith? I don't know what's going on. I just
What's going on? No, don't exactly.
Go on, Joey, you're up.
Okay, so I'm not sure what's been asked yet, but I guess apologies if this has been already asked, but in terms of laying a foundation, what are some of the key principles that you want to lay down with this side in terms of the style of play, building blocks for the months to come?
I've looked at, done a bit of research into what's been happening on the pitch and what some of the best teams in the world do on the pitch, and I suppose a lot of it is based on being prepared for competition football, being prepared for those moments. So I think one of the messages is going to be able to control the ball. It's part of who I am. So that's where the stubbornness comes from. So we will look at a team that would want the ball a little bit more, but also understand when it does have to defend in certain areas and have to defend in certain scenarios, whether it's defending a little bit deeper or defending a little bit higher, it can understand the moment. Tournament football and winning tournaments is about understanding and identifying that situation, and we want to give them the tools to control the ball when they can, but also understand that when there are times to defend and maybe give a little bit of the ball, also control that moment of defending. So we'll be doing a lot of work instilling those messages.
I guess principles of possession. Previously, you've worked at club level where you get plenty of time on the training track with your players.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much in the international domain. So I guess you'll have to pass those principles down into some key messaging. I guess what are they, and how do you go about implementing them in the short windows that you get with the squad in these camps?
Joey, you're asking me secrets I can't reveal at this stage. No, there's certain ways that we go about it through positional play. There's certain ways that we go about it in terms of just our base structures, in terms of the way we work. And look, again, you have to instill the belief in the team that we can keep the ball, that we can keep the ball in certain moments when we need to prepare, but also understand that when we need to be proactive and go forward. There are moments where, a long pass over the top could work if the opposition team is playing a high line. So for me, it's more not so much about possession for possession's sake, for just keeping the ball. It's identifying when the possession needs to be effective and when the possession needs to be prepared. I think we've got the players to do that. I think we've got the mentality to do that, and I'll create a training culture that when players do come into camp, that they know that those messages are very, very important and need to be instilled.
Any more from you, Joey?
Yeah, just one more on that front, I guess. Also, given the absences from the players in this squad, Pep, do you envision sending through, having video chats with the players that aren't here, sending them through footage and sending them, I guess, for lack of a better word, homework between now and the Asian Cup to make sure that everybody's on the same page before then? There'll
be a lot of information going back to them, and as I said, there's going to be constant touch points or constant. I suppose meetings, if you want to say, with the players that aren't here, but also, for me, the biggest work is going to be done away from camp. Camp's easy because you've got them, you can discuss with them, you can do even some ad hoc stuff at times, which is important. But away from camp is where we're going to be able to structure things a little bit more formally, I suppose, and make sure that messaging, is consistent.
Any final questions from the journos online? Fantastic. Any final questions from the journos in the room?
Only one. What does success look like on this 4-game series?
Performance. Dominating the ball is going to be very, very important. Keeping the ball, but also seeing some patterns that are very, very important to be able to create goal scoring opportunities. If I was to really assess the series or the games, it's going to be more about performance. And obviously performance has to result in positive results.